Fnatic will join Mad and Rogue at Worlds for Europe, and G2 are going home. Fnatic make it through to Worlds.
You've heard it ad nauseum at this point. It's a new era in Europe. The Kings are dead. G2 Esports, the former harbingers of Europe's golden age of League of Legends, are not even going to Worlds in 2021. It's a new era in Europe. But is it a better one? Results-wise, that remains to be seen, but the young pride of Europe, back-to-back champions and MSI semifinalists Mad Lions lead Rogue and a new-look Fnatic to go toe-to-toe with the best of the rest of the globe at Worlds 2021. And for many, that is just as exciting a prospect as G2 ever was.
I would say, I think as far as EU teams at Worlds, I feel very confident, especially about the Mad Lions in particular. I think that when I look at them, I see some of the strengths that I saw of like G2 in past years, as well as like some new ones, and primarily their fight come like mid-game, like they act as a complete unit. I love seeing how they're fully committed into plays, and even if they do fall behind, like they're always going to be looking for that way to come back in games, and I think that that level of game sense is something that is absolutely crucial when you make it to the international stage. And I think that from watching Fnatic as well in playoffs, I'm seeing some of that too. So as far as those two teams, I would expect them to make it out of groups at the very least. Mad Lions could maybe see a semi-final on the horizon. I'm not going to try to get too excited, but that's about where I see them ending up. And I think that Mad Lions versus a lot of LCK teams, a lot of LPL teams, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And I think I'm fairly confident about their chances against the majority of the competition.
I think so far Europe is looking pretty decent for Worlds, I would say. I think obviously Mad Lions look the best so far. I think Fnatic has shown a lot of growth, so they could also have a good run, I would say. But I think Rogue has not really shown that same spice level in the best of fives. I don't think Rogue has shown any indications that they would do good. I think they've gone on like a downward trajectory for the past few series and past few games. So I think it's hard to be optimistic, but I can still see a world where the meta fits them perfectly at Worlds and then they just click and do well. But it's definitely an uphill struggle for them.
Rogue is sort of the odd man out in this conversation, and I actually think that them going through play-ins might be a blessing for them if they can sort of figure things out, because for this team, they're a great best of one team, so groups, really no problem for them at all, but I do feel like they need to find what worked for them in the past, and I think a large part of that is like how can Larssen impact the game a little bit more. I think that it's been hard for him to, especially like for Rogue to even like play through mid and allow him to impact the rest of the map. Like even in today's series against Fnatic, him being on the rise, he wasn't able to have like nearly the same level that we saw come through from like Niski's rise, for example. And I think going back, reviewing the tape, figuring out how to fight through mid to sort of unlock Larssen around the map is going to be a big deal for them, because this team is very talented, very skilled players on the roster, but it is just not gelling at this point in time, and that's something that will get exploited by the best teams in the world.
Usually EU does pretty well against wildcard regions or lower ranked teams, so to say, so I think from that perspective I'm optimistic, but I don't think it really matters if they would come like third instead of fourth, because I think obviously every team wants to make it through the play-ins or play like the group, so I think it will be okay against the wildcard teams, but I don't see every EU team smurfing it up super hard. I think the strongest points for most EU teams is their aggression and team fighting. I think both Mad Lions, Rogue and Fnatic have shown when they have a goal lead and they have champs that they're comfortable, they can take a lot of good fights. I think Rogue less than the Fnatic and Mad Lions, but still a bit, and especially Fnatic and Mad, when they have a lot of team fighting tools, they just go forward until they win or lose the game, which I think is pretty good for international competition.
Obviously, like come international events, there's so much tape on a lot of teams that it becomes a little bit easier to like do your preparation and know what you're going to be facing off against, especially after watching teams go through a lot of best of fives in playoffs. You can see what their tendencies are, what they rely on. So it has been a thing in the past to see like specific champions get targeted or specific lanes get repeat ganked, for example. But I feel like personally, especially with Fnatic and Rogue, there are teams that are much harder to read. Because of the way that they sort of play their game. And it's not like you know what to expect in general with the Mad Lions and Fnatic game. A lot of action, a lot of, you know, trying to seize openings, take them and punish you with it. Yet, these teams, the way they go about it every game is going to be a little bit different because they are very in-the-moment teams, I feel like, and seizing opportunities when they see them. So I think that's a bit of an edge when you move into international events and just in general for these teams, that you know in general what's coming, but you don't know when it's coming exactly, and they're going to find those windows of opportunity to punish you.
I think a lot of the drafts that EU have right now are kind of greedy in the early game, and I think it doesn't really get punished that much in EU. So I think top LPL or LCK teams might abuse that early game weakness. But so far no teams in EU really take over the game from early game. They can have like a slight goal lead, but it always looks winnable from mid game. So I think that's something that we have to look out for.
Thanks for watching. For more gaming related content, subscribe to the Esports YouTube channel to stay up to date.